scary stories. This happened 2 years ago in my high school junior year. I was the kind of student who would take honors AP everything, waste the goddamn time, by the way, and I was taking accelerated pre-calculus so I could get into AP calculus before the next year. It was around September, November. It's the beginning of the school year when a new kid, Corbin, randomly shows up, sitting in the back of my math class. At the time, the seating arrangement sat me near him, so I thought, let's be nice to the new guy, and started to just acknowledge his presence. He would ask me questions. I would politely answer, etc. Nothing special, but no one else was really doing it at the time. He wasn't the type to be immediately popular the second you move schools, and he had that classic pudgy, short nerd look to him. Glasses, neckbeard, a rotation of 3 shirts, so I felt bad. I was never one to make friends. Wasn't popular, wasn't that good looking. Depression made me gross as fuck. So I felt empathetic. Turns out we shared another class, AP US History. This time Corbin sat directly in my table group. We would have to interact more in that class, so maybe he started to see me as a friendly face. I mean, being a new kid is hard, especially when everyone else has known each other for most of their lives, but that's where the problem is. I don't know what about me gave him the impression that he could confide in me about this. His love interest, but after a week or two, that's what Corbin started to do. At first, it wasn't too suspect. It was just saying things like, wow, math class is so great. Like, what the fuck? And Mrs. Egger, our math teacher, is such a great teacher. Like, yeah, okay. Things like that are normal to hear when you're sitting in a class full of AP nuts that want to go to Ivy League schools and become the next Stephen Hawkins or whatever the fuck. But then he started really wanting to know more about Mrs. Egger, asking things like, is Miss Egger married? Yes, but we just call her Miss. And does she have kids? Yes, it's pictures literally right there. And then he kept saying things like, I want to have all 6 periods of the day to be math. And I don't want to leave math. Why is it such a short period? At this point, I would try to stay away from Corbin. I wouldn't talk to him. I wouldn't look at him, giving signals of, ew, please get away. 'Cause I just had a fucking sort of gut feeling that he liked a lot more than just math. I would literally run from our math class the minute the bell rang in an effort to keep him from catching up to me, but he would still fucking find me and say things. I have never power walked so hard in my life, and he still somehow caught up. Impressive in a way. In my history class, we eventually had to do a group project as a table group. It was me, Corbin, and 2 other girls. We had to draw some sort of poster about the Civil War or some shit, and I was in charge of drawing most of it because for most of my life everyone knew me as the girl who can draw. I've gone to art school for 8 years, been traditionally taught. I had to draw some sort of southern looking guy, and I guess to him it looked like fucking Joseph Joestar, like the anime character from the Stardust Crusaders arc. First of all, ew. Not to just JoJo Bizarre's Adventure, but ew to the fact that I just got my years of art practice whittled down to looking like an anime character. But whatever, that wasn't the problem. The problem was that Corbin would not let that go. Instead of doing actual work and helping on the fucking poster. All he did for the rest of the class was just make JJBA sound effects. Like, what the fuck, dude? The other two girls and I would just look at each other and then go back to doing our work, trying not to give him the attention he so clearly wanted. He would always try to crack his stupid-ass jokes to no avail when watching documentaries in U.S. history class, so it was nothing new. He would actually repeat his jokes numerous times, but even the teacher wouldn't give him the time of day. But the poster thing was so painful that I actually stopped liking JJBA for a while, and I only just started getting back into it now, just because he was so damn cringy. But that's neither here or there. Back to the main part. I eventually got sick and tired of Corbin's bullshit and decided to email both Miss Egger and my AP history teacher saying that I wanted to be moved as far away from him as possible in class and have them make sure that future seating charts would reflect that. I didn't go into detail as to why I felt so uncomfortable, because what was I supposed to say? And the teachers didn't ask questions. So I got my wish and got moved to literally the opposite corners. He was in the front left corner. I was in the back right, yada yada. I would catch him staring at me a lot, but he stopped talking to me after that. Thank the goddamn Lord, right? Then I found something out that made me feel bad for Miss Egger herself. Sometimes, when I missed class, I would go in after to make up notes or take quizzes, and I noticed he was always there. During lunch, after school, he was always just sitting there. Corbin didn't have to make up anything. He just wanted to really spend his day with Miss Egger, and it was every day. Other kids would see him when they went in to make something up. Every day, I would try to rationalize all of this. Obviously, he didn't have many friends, being new and all, so maybe he wanted to not sit alone during lunch, or maybe just wait a little in the classroom before his mom came to pick him up after school, and maybe Miss Egger is the only teacher he feels comfortable around. Then suddenly, it's Valentine's Day. For me, not a special day. Never has been a special day. Never will be. Just a regular, normal-ass fucking day. I had missed class the day before. Yes, I'm a serial skipper, if you haven't noticed. And went in after school to make up a math test. Oops. Surprise. You know who is in there giving Miss Egger motherfucking cookies, saying he wanted to do something special for a special someone like her and whatnot? Some poetic lovey-dovey bullshit. Miss Egger accepts it. Which, to be fair, I would have probably personally declined, since I found a black hair baked in the cookies he had brought for a math potluck once. Spoilers, he's blonde, with a slightly forced, "Aw, thanks," and he finally leaves. I take my test. Don't remember if I did any good, but right as I was about to walk out the door, Miss Egger asks, "Can I actually talk to you for a second?" I'm like, what the fuck can this be about? I thought, as I was in some sort of trouble missing all of the class or something, but it turns out she wanted to ask me about Corbin. She goes, "I know you didn't want to talk about why you were uncomfortable with Corbin, but I was wondering if there is anything you can tell me." I was like, thank God she noticed, and I so finally spilled the beans about how weird he is, how he seems to be infatuated with her, and how I thought that she was oblivious to it all this time. Miss Egger tells me that she has known, and that she just has to put up with it for the rest of the year. I eventually started to tell people about my interactions with Corbin, not for the sake of gossip, but because I wanted to warn people, especially the girls he tended to hover around. He would always just go up to a pair of girls and stand in between them, just watching them talk to each other, not even engage in their conversation, just watch. And that's when I realized that other girls have had similar suspicious interactions with this kid, and how he kept trying the whole "what if we kiss, ha ha" joke, unless multiple lines of multiple girls, and how he harassed this one particular girl that I guess he liked over text, etc. One trend of his is that he would really take interest only in Asian girls, so he probably had some sort of yellow fever situation going on too. Junior year ended with no further bumps, and when senior year started, I walked into school and didn't see Corbin anymore. He's not in my math classes or any other AP class, which is weird because he'd probably take it. Turns out he moved back to where he came from over the summer. As for me, I missed more school than I'd like to admit. I'm always one for pushing the attendance limit, but still graduated in the top 5% of my class out of 560 students. See, kids, it's possible, but just don't quote me on it. Now I'm in college, living my best life, and out of that goddamn hick town for good. As for Corbin, you better not see me again, motherfucker. So, this happened 2 years ago, but my friend reminded me of it. I'm on mobile. English is my first language, blah blah. So, I was dating my boyfriend for over a year at this point, and we were sophomores in our co-ed boarding high school. A few weeks into the beginning of the year, this kid, we'll call him Larry, started talking to me more. I didn't mind, as I'm friendly and enjoy helping new kids, but he slowly got too friendly. He started complimenting me and saying things along the line of, "We should be together." I obviously told him I had a boyfriend, but I was flattered. Wrong move. He went in about how he would be better than my boyfriend. He's nicer, better looking, richer, and more. I basically said, I don't give a fuck, and I love my boyfriend. I told him I would still be nice and talk to him, but nothing more. He started immediately being very rude to me. I have short hair, and he started insulting me by calling me an ugly rat and saying I was an idiot for cutting my hair. If he saw my boyfriend and I hanging out, he would say we were an ugly couple and I should be with him. He would even physically move me away from my boyfriend and try to put his arm around me, claiming it was a joke. My boyfriend isn't very confrontational, and at the time, I wasn't either. I sure as fuck am now after dealing with bullshit like this, so we both tried to calmly tell him to leave us alone, and I would just get up whenever he was around. Finally, it ended when he picked up a different girl's scent and lost interest in me. Thank God. But I have heard him say so many disgusting, sexist things about how women are sluts made for sex, and he can get any bitch he wants with his money. But, newsflash, fuckboy, every girl at our school hates you. Most guys hate you too. You are ugly, narcissistic, misogynistic, And you stink. And you are most definitely not a nice guy like you claim to be.